Scuffy was sad. Scuffy was cross. Scuffy sniffed his blue smokestack. "A toy store is no place for a red-painted tugboat," said Scuffy, and he sniffed his blue smokestack again. "I was meant for bigger things." "Perhaps you would not be so cross if you went sailing," said the man with the polka-dot tie, who owned the shop. So one night he took Scuffy home to his little boy, and he filled the bathtub with water. "Sail, little tugboat," said the little boy. "I won't sail in a bathtub," said Scuffy. "A tub is no place for a red-painted tugboat. I was meant for bigger things." So the next day, the man with the polka-dot tie and his little boy carried Scuffy to a laughing brook that started high in the hills. "Sail, little tugboat," said the man with the polka-dot tie. In the spring, the brook was full to the brim with its water, and the water moved in a hurry, as all things move in a hurry when it is spring. Scuffy was in a hurry too. "Come back, little tugboat, come back," cried the little boy, as the hurrying, brimful brook carried Scuffy downstream. "Not I," tooted Scuffy. "Not I. This is the life for me." All that day Scuffy sailed along the brook, past the meadows filled with cowslips, past the women washing clothes on the bank, past the woods filled with violets. Cows came to the brook to drink. They stood in the cool water, and it was fun to sail between their legs, the bump softly into their noses, and it was fun to see them drink. But when the white and brown cow almost drank Scuffy instead of the brook's cool water, Scuffy was frightened. That was not fun. Night came with its moon. There was nothing to see but the quiet trees. Suddenly an owl called out, "Hoot, hoot!" "Toot, toot!" cried the frightened tugboat, and he wished he could see the smiling face of the man with the polka-dot tie. When morning came, Scuffy was cross instead of frightened. "I was meant for bigger things. But which way am I to go?" he said. But there was only one way to go, and that was with the running water. And there were two brooks that met to form a small river, and with the river sailed Scuffy, the red-painted tugboat. He was proud when he sailed past the villages. "People build villages at the edge of my river," said Scuffy, and he straightened his blue smokestack. Once Scuffy's river joined with a small one jammed with logs, and here were men with heavy jackets and great big boots walking all about the floating logs, trying to pry them free. "Doot, doot, let me through," demanded Scuffy, but the men paid no attention to him. They pushed the logs apart so they would drift with the river in the sawmills of the town. Scuffy bumped along with the jostling logs. "Ouch!" he cried as the two logs bumped together. "This is a fine river," said Scuffy, "but it's very busy and very big for me." He was proud when he sailed under the bridges. "My river is so wide and deep that people must build bridges to cross it." The river moved through towns now instead of the villages, and the bridges over it were very wide, wide enough so that many cars and trucks and streetcars could cross all at once. The river got deeper and deeper. Scuffy did not have to tuck up his bottom anymore. The river moved faster and faster. "I feel like a train instead of a tugboat," said Scuffy as he was hurried along. He was proud when he passed the old sawmill with its water wheel. But high in the hills and mountains, the winter snow was melting. Water filled the brooks and rushed from here to there into the small rivers. Faster and faster it flowed to the great river where Scuffy sailed. "There is too much water in this river," said Scuffy, as he pitched and tossed in the waves. "Soon it will splash over the top. What a flood there will be!" Soon great armies of men came to save the fields and towns from the rushing water. They filled bags with sand and put them at the edge of the river. "They're making higher banks for the river," shouted Scuffy, to hold the water back. The water rose higher and higher, and the men built sandbags higher and higher. Higher went the river, higher went the sandbags. At last, water rose no more. The flood water rushed out onto the sea, and Scuffy raced along the flood. The people in the fields and the town were finally safe. On went the river to the sea. At last Scuffy sailed into a big city, and here the river widened, and all about were docks and wharves. Oh, it was a busy place and a noisy place. The cranes groaned as they swung the cargo into great ships. The porters shouted as they carried suitcases and boxes on board. Horses stamped and truck motors roared. Streetcars clanged and people shouted. Scuffy said, "Doot doot," but nobody noticed. "Oh no," cried Scuffy when he saw the sea. "There is no beginning and no end to the sea. I wish I could find the man with the little polka-dotted tie and his little boy." Just as the little red tugboat sailed past the last piece of land, a hand reached out and picked him up. And there was the man with the polka-dot tie and his little boy beside him. Scuffy is home now with the man in the polka-dot tie and his little boy. He sails from one side of the bathtub to the other. "This is the place for a red-painted tugboat," said Scuffy. "And this is the life